I've got so much to say, so much to say, so much to say, like Tony Khan can't book a show. So much to say, so much to say, so much to say. Thanks, guys. God damn it. Tony Khan continues to prove that he doesn't know how to book, format, or even understand professional wrestling. But nevertheless, let's get to it. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage. And it was about as successful as that beat 'em up that was on the SNES back in the mid-90s. Who remembers Maximum Carnage? It looked cool, and then it was just a standard beat 'em up. This was a standard wrestling show, at least by AEW standards, and they could have done things about 5 different ways, and then they chose to pretty much do them in the absolute most standard way with no control. And look, it is getting really, really, really hard to justify continuously reviewing AEW programming. It's getting really hard without getting very frustrated with the missed potential and the underutilized talents and the talents that could be utilized, rebuilt. What am I missing? What am I fucking missing here? What am I missing in my 40 years of watching professional wrestling? What is Tony Khan able to do besides have a bunch of goddamn money and no goddamn sense of how to put together a competent professional wrestling company? And I defended AEW for months and months and years, and it has just been a steep fucking decline. It's all his goddamn fault. So anyway, they were in the Andrew J. Bradley Music Center. Sounds like an off-brand thing of like Empire Records. I don't know. They were in Cincinnati, Ohio. They had about 1,500 fans there. According to WrestleTix, the upper deck was blocked off. Look, it was a cool venue, and it was nice to have a more intimate, setting. But god damn it, just so many missed opportunities on the show. I did like how when I clicked on the Max stream a couple minutes early, they had the cameras on, and Smiley Roberts was trying to encourage the people to get up like they do before they go live. Good job there. Fucking goddamn dipshits. Anyway, I don't mind the setup. I actually like the more intimate setup. Shivani, Taz back from his knee replacement surgery. Good that Taz is back because we need somebody to carry this goddamn thing. Because Shivani, bless him, has enthusiasm, should be the backstage interviewer. Excalibur's totally lost on commentary. Bring Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman to Dynamite and just have them call the goddamn thing. So we get a Mox and Hobbs package. We have hype for the other matches tonight. And then we have the Machine Brian Cage, who apparently went to Just for Men for his beard and hair. Not that he was going gray, but unusually dark. So dark that Hogan almost called him a slur. Kenny Omega is back in his first AEW match in about 13, 14 months. Fresh off of the Tokyo Dome match of the Against Gabe Kid that I actually really enjoyed. Callis is on commentary. Rick Knox is the referee, so you know that nothing is going to get accomplished as far as rule enforcement. Rick Knox is a fucking rotten goddamn referee. I bet his parents were inbred, because that's the only way to justify how somebody is so incompetent at their job. But then again, his parents were around when Methuselah was alive, so, that's how fucking old he is. The crowd loved Kenny. Archer does a distraction. I don't know how Archer could sneak up on anybody. I'm not knocking Lance Archer. The man is a big motherfucker, as Rick Ross would say. Brian Cage did execute a halfway decent press slam onto the announcer's table, and Kenny was selling the gut, the diverticulitis recovery and all that. And Archer and Callis ended up attacking while Rick Knox was apparently distracted by a shiny penny. Somebody should have dropped it from the roof and maybe it would have done the job. But anyway, a superplex when we get back from the break. We get a powerbomb from the stage into the ring and an F5 variation. 1-2 kick out. Sunset flip powerbomb. That was impressive by Omega. A knee and then a V-trigger. And then the one-wing angel. He had to use the ropes to get some assistance because Brian Cage is an HGH motherfucker. And there you go. So, one-winged angel, and there we are. And then we get a post-match brawl. Don't worry, folks. It's the only post-match brawl we get. I swear to you. The only one we get. And then Will Ospreay makes the save. At least he tries to. But then Takeshita shows up. And everybody just does shit. And look, if they want to have Takeshita against Omega, I'm all for it. Because I actually wouldn't mind seeing that. But The sad thing is, it wasn't even the most egregious thing on the show. MVP and the Hurt Business, or Hurt Syndicate, rather, it will take me a bit to not call them that, are in a bar. We hurt people. MVP is going to wrestle tonight. Jericho has a New York Minute. He was about as successful as the movie New York Minute. And my mute button got stuck. I don't know what happened. I'm sick of Brian Queef and Big Bill. I just don't want to see anybody involved in this. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for Ricochet. I will not, Smiley Roberts. Look, Rico Tate is doing the best he can with this goddamn heel turn, and he wants to scissor somebody. It is really hard to justify any like TV time for Rico Tate. I'm sorry, this is not working. It's not. He is kind of an unlikable douche. I mean, he's proven that on social media. He also can't win a goddamn argument against anybody, but nevertheless, he is upset because the fans are booing him. And then Swerve's music hits, and then Nana hits him with a chair. He got taken out by Nana, who did used to wrestle back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And I like Nana, but Rico Tate got taken out by a chair, and then Swerve comes with a chain, and apparently it was snowing quite a bit in Cincinnati, even though cars were zooming by on the goddamn road, so I guess maybe the roads were fine, but it's just a bunch of fresh powder. And yeah, he chases them out the goddamn building. So, we get a Mercedes Moné package. Have her wrestle, don't ever talk unless she earns to talk and not sound like a goddamn caricature. She's a disingenuous bitch whenever she cuts a promo on goddamn wrestling television. I'm not saying she's a bitch in real life. I don't really care if she is. Just do not have her talk. The Hurt Syndicate took on Mark Briscoe and Irma Gas Private Party, and this accomplished what it needed to. Private Party winning the tag titles, it needed to happen at Wrestle Dream because by the time they won it, like, what was it, a few weeks later, it didn't. Yeah, the crowd popped, but I think they would have popped more at Wrestle Dream. We would have at least gotten something for that show. I was there. And basically, Shelton ends up pinning Mark Quinn. It wasn't a bad match. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish. I like what they're doing with the Hurt Syndicate. And then Copeland. I'm calling him Copeland because calling him Cope is stupid. And it's stupid he came up with that name. It's more stupid that he patented it. You have to pay for a goddamn patent. Anyway, so Copeland and Pack are there, and next week, and then we have a Copeland FTR package. And by the way, Swerve and Rico Tate are going to face off against each other on February 5th in Atlanta, Georgia. They're at least giving people a reason to want to go to these shows by hyping up matches weeks in advance. I'll give them that much credit. Jarrett and MJF, well, Jarrett's out in the ring. MJF interrupts and says, "Don't you ever, interrupt me again." Okay. There were elements of this segment I liked, but this is one of the first times I can think where I didn't really care for this MJF segment. And both were trying to salvage it. The more they tried to salvage it, the longer it went, the more uncomfortable it got, not for the barbs they were throwing, or bars they were throwing, or whatever the fuck it is. This needed some rebar up the goddamn side of the head, as far as I'm concerned. So MJF does say, Jeff Jarrett is the last thing you see before your favorite wrestling company dies. That was fine. And then he knocks his sobriety. Okay, whatever. He knocks Karen and says, "Oh, I could send her back to you, and you don't know what an Olympic gold medalist and, my balls taste like, I guess, or something." Jeff Jarrett then felt the love from the fans, in the Owen Cup, and has carried that with him and wants to continue to carry that and basically go out on his shield, on his sword, whatever. Refers to MJF's mother as a call girl, and the dad's an ambulance chasing lawyer. Apparently he's Lionel Hutz. He moves for a bad court thingy. And, you were doing your 60-minute Broadway while your old lady was gaining from 10 wrestlers at the same time. Is that his ex? Is he saying that it was Alicia Atauta Toot, whatever the hell her name is? I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because... And you need me because you're drowning in your own shit. This segment was drowning in its own shit. This went a while. I did like the Dick the Boozer sign at ringside. That was actually pretty goddamn funny, all things considered, because realistically, that's a funny nickname. You know why it's a funny nickname? Because that and the Boar Horseman is a really, really funny goddamn, nickname. And the reason I like it is simply because it's hilarious. And that honestly, it's like if you don't get the whole Dick the Boozer reference, I don't know what to tell you. So MJF vows to shove it down the fans' throats because they put him on a pedestal. Now they want to knock him off the pedestal. And I like MJF, but this was a time where his shtick did not land. And then he mentioned Owen, and this is where it fell in a pit. And I'm sure they consulted with Dr. Martha Hart, but he called him a carny succubus, and then they get in a fight because he's using Owens' name. I guess. And then Karen tries to get in the ring. He grabs her almost in a chokehold, channeling a man that was in Gainesville, Georgia, or Fayetteville, Georgia, and then takes off. This Saturday, Hangman and Daniels in a Texas death match, and Okada versus Ishii. I might actually have to watch that, especially for the fact that there's a 12-man tag that Tony Khan got just completely destroyed for announcing. Because it's just overload and ridiculous. And then we get the big old grudge match. It's Hook, who wears Hook shorts. He wears Hook shorts. And Christian Cage had Shayna in his corner. Shayna looked great. Shayna Wayne, Nick Wayne, two of the nicest people that you ever meet. Nick Wayne, great talent. Shayna, super nice and down to earth. They're both great people. So anyway, these two tried, Hook and Christian Cage tried. I just haven't cared about this feud, and none of it's really worked. So Hook basically takes out Nick and Kip, but then gets the red rum on, and that ends that basically causes a DQ when Kip jumps in. And then Taz stands up like he's going to do something because they've got chairs, and then Samoa Joe is back. That's good. It feels like about 2 years since Samoa Joe's been around. When he got driven into a fake wall because Chris Jericho has nothing but bad ideas. And no answer for where his wife was on January 6, 2021. Speaking of which, I'm surprised that Jericho was actually at the show and not prepared to go to the inauguration, because we all know the Irvine family is very peaceful when they're in the Capitol. So anyway, Shibata and his new brain were also there, and Joe hit a nice power slam, and that's how they bring back Samoa Joe. I mean, yes, the Hook Association, but... So, we've got Jay White and Roderick Strong possibly having a match. Wheeler Yuta, Wheeler Yuta is going to get involved in this because White is upset at Yuta. To be upset, I'm upset at Yuta because he belongs on the other side of the barricade with the fans. Not even in the front row. Doesn't even deserve to be in the front row. He's a doofus. O'Reilly and Garcia are going to have a match. God help me. I know it sounds like I'm dumping on all these people, but just this Undisputed Era bullshit. I'm sorry. It's stale. It's fucking stale. They need a complete reset. Tony Khan can't do this. And then Jarrett and Dustin are talking about MJF, and it's like, I'm with you 110%. We're the last of our kind, the last of a dying breed. I don't get the half-face paint thing. I still don't get it with Dustin. He doesn't really need it, but nevertheless. So Mariah May shows up, and she's going to give commentary. For the Women's Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal, the winner faces Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia. That is apparently not on pay-per-view. It's going to be streaming on Max, according to the graphic. So unless they change it, it's going to be streaming on Max, which, all right. Is it going to be streaming on tape delay? I'm very confused. If it's streaming very early in the morning, though, I probably will catch it later. I will not be taking the day off for that. Because that's the 15th, and I don't think I'm off that day. I have weird shifts coming up. Nevertheless, Statlander and Jamie Hayter start off. And then number 3, Megan Bayne. Oh, they finally decided to bring her in. What I've seen of her in Stardom, she has improved. She's very statuesque. There is a lot of snoo going on in this ring right now. Don't know why I need to say it like that. Spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised. So, nevertheless, Statlander, Hayter, and Megan Bayne, okay, that was cool. Julia Hart shows up, and then Willow shows up, and then Toni Storm shows up, and then Harley shows up. Am I skipping through a lot of this? Yes, because it's another Casino Gauntlet thing, and look, it's not the worst thing I've seen, but I'm sick of Battle Royals. So, the crowd pop for Toni. They're just doing shit until the referee tells them to stop. They go in the ring, out of the ring, all that. Harley got misted, but then Toni suddenly pins Julie with a roll-up. This is all, I was talking to a friend of mine off video, and this is basically just Toni Storm luring Mariah in so she can beat her at Dynamite Grand Slam, which, to be perfectly honest, if you're gonna blow off this story, having her be Mariah right there would be a good idea. So, what wasn't a good idea, by the way, was the following match. It was Hobbs against Moxley for the AEW World title. Okay, one, Jon Moxley may be one of the worst professional wrestlers being pushed on a mainstream stage. I'm not saying he can't wrestle, but he just chooses not to, and all this Death Rider stuff is bullshit. It is bullshit. Hobbs clubs Moxley while the Boar Horsemen are standing around ringside. They go into the crowd. And then Hobbs bites Mox's ear, and then we go to break, and then Mox apparently decided to almost slice his goddamn ear off because he's bleeding like crazy. I don't care about blood in a wrestling match. You do whatever the fuck you want, but Moxley's going to continue to bleed to try to hide the fact that he basically can't fucking do shit anymore, and he refuses to sell stuff or bump properly or whatever. This did nothing for Hobbs. This did absolutely nothing for Hobbs. Oh, they threw everything at him, and it took all that to beat him. Yeah, and look how they reintroduced Hobbs when he was Ricochet's tag team partner, and then Ricochet was a heel like 6-7 weeks later, and Hobbs lost in the shuffle. He lost it to Takeshita at World's End. It's like he has not felt important since well before his goddamn injury. So yeah, he bit Mox's ear. Later, Yuta showed up, and unfortunately was not, arrested and sent back to juvenile hall because he is the size of a goddamn child. The Spinebuster does not get a 3. And then we get a case shot where Marina was way out of position and took about, 12,000 years to hit it. Good job there, you bitch. And then a roll-up, and then a 2 count. Oh, look, a pair of dime shift, and then suddenly a choke, and Hobbs loses. And then a beat down. They're targeting the chair with the knee with the chair. And then suddenly Copeland and FTR apparently were either in the shower or parking their car again because they showed up about 18 minutes too late. Good job there. And it ends with another big old beatdown and stare down and all that. And Tony Khan can't book shit. Maybe I'll watch Collision, maybe I won't. I don't know. Morbid curiosity might get me, but they got to really amp things up here. This Death Rider stuff is really, really fucking bad. It has been bad since the beginning. It has somehow gotten worse. That being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin, and I'll see you soon.